Men going their own way, Australia. The pecking order of the machine. It was only till I switched on and woke up and out of the state of the blue pill that I clearly realised something was terribly wrong with the system, or the machine, if you will. You see things differently from this side of the fence. You realise that there is a pecking order. Ultimately, you have the government on top of the food chain, and then you have an illusion that children are next in this order. However, this is only a false projection that gives the true party who is second in this the pecking order, being females. Children are only ammunition for the females to attain power in this pecking order. In a matter of one day, the human being goes from being labelled a child to a non-child, and if this non-child is a male, then this male is the target of psychological warfare directed at him by not only government and its agencies, but also females as well. In a certain yet weird way, young males are not considered to be children. They are only flesh and bones being incubated in a sick world, whilst females and government wait for them to grow so that they can be inducted into a gynocentric system in order to serve the machine. Females, however, will always remain children, way beyond the time that they hit the wall. Men are obviously at the bottom of this pecking order. Men are the grease, the fuel, the cash cows and labour which keep this machine going, whether they like it or not, yet cannot see that they have been compromised. At the bottom of this order, it need not matter if a man dies in a firefighting rescue mission, mining for coal, fighting a war, to protect and to serve only two parts of a machine, and that is government and females. Even business is more important than men's lives and welfare. The dollar is more valuable because it helps keep the wheels of this machine spinning. Taxes make enormous amounts of money for government. Yes, the biased family courts of Australia and any other country for that matter make huge amounts of money. In Australia, the courts make over $14 billion per year. Who do you think pays for this? How can the machine be fair and allow fathers to fairly win custody battles rather than seeing an overall national figure of fathers winning around 9% of custody battles? What would happen if this were the case? Mothers would have to go to work, wouldn't they? But the machine could not tolerate this. Okay, so it's all about money and power. So the government, the machine, thinks that it will make the courts more father-friendly to create some fairness and make these court battles much faster. They will lose out some of the $14 billion cake, but get it from somewhere else, whether it be taxing alcohol, putting up more speed cameras, introducing some new taxes, etc. But the problem is that females also drink alcohol, females drive, and taxes would hit females as well. I can assure you that even if government did introduce these new taxes, they would still not change the way the family courts work, and they would still remain biased against men. After all, the pecking order is in full effect, and the money it generates is extremely lucrative. As long as men are living in the system and running by gynocentric rules of the machine, men will be oppressed and downtrodden. Men must disconnect. This is the only way to take away fuel from the machine. This is the only way for a man to be as free as he can be. To protect and to serve. To protect and to serve, yet when a man protects and serves, he is kicked into the gutter like a worthless creature as soon as the moment that a man's services are not required. Freedom from oppression, they yell, and the tentacles of the octopus, the machine, have no problem in expressing this message via its tentacles. I mean, why would they? The power and money generated from the oppression of men is monumental. In the Middle East, there are two neighbouring countries, Lebanon and Syria. In Lebanon, you have a feminist group that goes by the name of Nasawiya, who previously went by the name the Feminist Collective, that is calling for so-called equal rights and for the so-called freedom from the oppression of men and the so-called patriarchy. Whilst in Syria, the neighbouring country, there are females that are hiding behind the backs of men, calling for men to fight and protect them. Men are utilities indeed. After watching Emma Watson deliver her speech at the United Nations, it would not surprise me if the head of this machine is actually the United Nations, causing this current pecking order which leaves men kicking the rocks in the dust. Go back to 1974, no-fault divorce, child support, and so on, making sure that men remain in a subservient position at the bottom of the pecking order, no matter what happens. It need not matter if a man comes back to his country after serving in the army to find that his so-called wife is sleeping with another man. It need not matter if you suffer from PTSD after putting your life at risk for the sake of your country. It need not matter if she okayed the fact that you could be intimate with her, yet you still get thrown in jail because she was intoxicated. You are at the bottom of the pecking order, and the machine desires you walk on eggshells and serve and only protect when necessary. It was only yesterday that millions of men died in World War I and World War II, but they have been long forgotten. A moment of silence that goes for only seconds long is enough to remember them and respect them, but it is ongoing torturous experience that the machine puts men through. The same men that they will call and throw at the front lines of war, only to then also forget them and make it out like they truly remember them in a few seconds of so-called remembrance. If only the martyrs of war, World War I and World War II, could see what this society has become, the same society that they fought and died for, hoping that it will bring them a brighter future. It is my opinion that they are rolling in their graves, for they did not fight for the oppression of their own sons.